we're all prone to some quite significant biases as well. Dan has touched on some of them, and you probably know of many, but we can be overconfident in our judgments. We can struggle to assess probabilities, which is quite important in a financial context. We can be myopic and struggle to take good decisions for ourselves for the long term. So when you think about all of that, you might be thinking, well, that's a perfect storm, and what are we going to see when we actually look at the quality of decision making? So we obviously do quite a bit of this at the FCA. There are many decisions taken every day that are pretty good for people, but there are some signs that people are leaving money on the table and making decisions that aren't working in their best interest. So in some markets, it's quite possible to see cases where individuals are making choices that are strictly dominated by other options on the table. Really very hard to justify given everything we can observe about them and their interests. Over in the credit card market, there are a number of troubling signs of consumers struggling there to really do the best for themselves and use credit in a way that makes sense for them. When people pay off their cars, there's some evidence that, for instance, they do this pro rata to the outstanding balance on individual multiple cards rather than paying down first the most expensive debt. Many of you will know, and I think Dan probably knows this very well, when we invest our money, those of us that do, we tend to under-diversify. So I saw John Gathergood from Nottingham speak about naively sort of putting 1 over N into a very small number of stocks in the market recently. And then when we think about our retirement, we actually don't manage very well to estimate our own longevity, and we tend to undersave. So these are some quite significant welfare important decisions, and I could give you many more examples. So you might not want a physics advisor, but you might then be thinking, well, why don't I get some financial advice, or why isn't everybody out there getting financial advice? And when you start to dig into this, what you find is that, yes, some people aren't interested, but for some people, they will tell you actually that they feel that they're priced out of the market. And this isn't really an option for them. A couple of years ago in 2016, the FCA teamed up with the UK Treasury and had a look at this question specifically for the investment advice market in the UK. What they identified there was that there was a significant number of people for whom advice was not really available cost effectively. So really there was a gap in the mass market. So robo-advice could help to close that gap, and that drives a lot of our interest as a regulator. That's obviously a primary consideration. It could, for the first time, really, going digital could mean unlocking the benefits of some good professional advice for the masses, and that could be potentially transformative in terms of the quality of these decisions.